I welcome you all. It's a smaller forum than we have had in the past. My name's Diane Daggett, and I am a board member of the Wallowa County Chamber of Commerce. So please silence your cell phones if you haven't done that. So this forum has been going on for many years, and the purpose of the gathering is to inform our local voters and gather information prior to casting their votes. And by the way, if you are not registered to vote, you can do that until Tuesday, so please register if you're not. Our sponsors are the Wallowa County Fair Board, who oversee this building, and they donate this to us each year, or each time that we have this event. And I'd like to introduce our committee members. Chuck Anderson is the incredible forum director. Thank you, Chuck. And we also have Dina DeMello, who's representing the Wallowa County Stock Growers, and Dick Birch, who's representing the Rotary Club of Wallowa County. Those are the sponsors: Wallowa County Chamber, Wallowa County Stock Growers, and the Rotary Club of Wallowa County. I want to take time for a special thank you to Tom Hill for helping us out, getting us technologically advanced. We've tried Zoom for a couple of sessions, and we've had a very hard time making it work. So hopefully this time we'll be able to do that. I'd like to ask you now to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Also, just wanted to announce that Roger Averback is here. He is going to be recording the session today, and it's going to be available on his YouTube channel. The handle for that is A Roger 2. A Roger number 2. Is that right, Roger?
Correct.
Okay, thank you so much. And also, he's going to allow this recording to be accessed by our committee, so it will be on the Elections Forum Facebook page via Chuck. Thank you so much. So now that I have all of that out of the way, I want to talk a little bit about the process. So we use a timer so that this really is about an election forum needs to be fair, right? It needs to be fair to all the candidates, and so that's the reason why we have this process. And you can imagine when there are larger elections and lots of candidates, it's important for us to use our time wisely, but also to make sure the process is fair. So our timer, Dick, he'll be timing, and he'll give a 30-second warning that sounds like this.
Time's up.
A 30-second warning that sounds like this.
30 seconds.
And at the end, let's see. And at the end, it will be a time's up signal that sounds like this.
Time's up again.
Okay, so candidates were provided with an invitation to participate in the forum. And as you came in the door today, there is a sheet of all the candidates for the May election and the different districts that there are offices being voted on. All of those candidates on that sheet, and again, it's at the back table. If you didn't pick one up, were invited to join us for the forum today. The contested seat candidates who responded and are in attendance will each have 4 minutes to introduce themselves with a 30-second warning, as I mentioned, at the end. And then if there are questions submitted, you can do that again by grabbing a card at the back of the room and a pencil and taking your question over to the candidate questions table. If there were a lot of questions, we'd actually have those juried so that we could get through them. But looks like that's not the case today. There's 1 minute to respond to the questions if we do have some submitted. Questions will not be taken from the floor. You can imagine that could get a bit chaotic for an election forum. But as I mentioned, they are created by the people in the audience right before the forum. So there's no way that any candidate would have a question beforehand. So candidates tonight are going to appear in the following order. Enterprise City Council candidates Nick West and Rowdy Smith are going to be here. And we're going to ask other candidates who are representing districts to introduce themselves and talk about their district with a 4-minute maximum. And that's the Wallowa County Service District, Breanne Austin, the Wallowa County Healthcare District, Nick Lundy, and the Joseph School District, Tim Bombassi, who is going to join via Zoom. And it sounds like, is he with us?
Yes, he is.
Hello, Tim. So the candidates have also been asked to stay after the forum. If you'd like to visit with them for a little while or have personal questions you want to ask them one-on-one, you certainly can do that. And we have treats and drinks in the back of the room thanks to the Wallowa County Chamber of Commerce. So now it's time for me to stop talking and invite our 2 candidates to come up. And that is Nick West and Rowdy Smith. Okay, so Nick, you won the coin toss. You get to go first. So please give us your introduction.
Good afternoon. My name is Nick West. I grew up. Good. I grew up on a cattle ranch outside of Imbler. I graduated from high school there as well, and then went off to Oregon State and ultimately to OHSU for medical school, and now I'm a practicing family medicine doctor in the community. I come from kind of an extended family of teachers and educators. My wife, Alex, was a teacher, culinary arts teacher, and kind of bipped and bopped around the state during kind of my different educational time periods. My mom was a math and science teacher for 20, 30 years in Imbler, and my brother's the current ag teacher in Imbler, and my brother-in-law is currently teaching, and my sister-in-law is a teacher, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law were teachers, and so just kind of a long line of teaching in my family, and have always appreciated the uniqueness of teaching. And I think that when it comes to like, why am I here, and why am I interested in kind of school board, if you're looking for someone who has like an agenda per se, or has like something that like I'm super passionate about to like try to make a change for, that's not really what I'm here for. I value the school board and the school as this kind of wonderful nexus between the community, students, teachers, athletics, volunteerism, like all of these things that kind of intersect in a small town, much like Imbler, just a little bigger scale, here in Enterprise, of like, I just want to come with this willingness to learn and this humility to know, like, yeah, I don't know, I can't really guess, or I can't really foresee what different issues or situations might arise, but what I can give is my entire kind of passion and interest, which I apply in my own career, family, life, whatever it might be, to something like the school board, where it impacts so many different people in so many different ways. I'm not interested, I'm not going to come to you with like, I think that ice cream should be served 3 times a day at school. Like that's not my gist. Like after talking to many different kind of current and past board members in the local area, you soon realize, especially in a post-COVID era, that you think that X, Y, and Z, and I'm sure there's going to be some great questions where we're going to talk about maybe some situations or issues that we are concerned about. But the reality is, in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, those can totally change, and the different, the 1,000 different steps and policies to try to navigate that
30 seconds.
are going to be really, really hard to adapt to. And so I come to you with just a willingness to learn and serve, and very interested in your vote.
you very much. And now we'll hear from Rowdy Smith.
That's a tough one to follow. Yeah, I mean, Nick had it right. You can't go into a school board with an agenda. You have to show up and try to do what's best for his kids, the school, the district. Like Nick, I have kids coming up as well. I'd like to do my part. Whether it's sports. I've talked to quite a few of the board or the city board members already, and you can't come in with an agenda. You just got to go and do. And it kind of sounds like some of them have certain areas that they're better at than other ones, and they kind of team up together. And I would kind of like to be part of that. It sounds like there's some progress to be made there. That's kind of where I'm at, I guess. For you, the youth need closer. Okay. For those of you that don't know me, Rowdy Smith is my name. Born and raised here in Wallowa County. Worked for the city of Joseph for 10 years. Did worked on some grants, small town politics, the meetings, all of that. Got a pretty good background in that. Yeah, I guess that's all I got.
Thank you, and thank you for thanking them. Do we have any questions? No questions submitted. You guys are released. Thank you so much and good luck. So it seems that every forum I make one big foible. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I missed one of the most important people in the room in my introductions, which is Jenny Ward. The chair of the Wallowa County Chamber Board is the one back at the back table, welcoming you and providing goodies. So Jenny, thank you so much for being here on behalf of the Chamber. I apologize for skipping over you. All right, so it would be my pleasure now to welcome Brianne Austin to the podium to talk about the Wallowa County Education Service District. It's nice, it's a directional mic, so I scream home. Think I scream home.
And I'm a teacher, so I'm used to just shouting. Hi, thank you for being here. On the ballot, it says Brianne Austin, but most people call me Bree, and at Enterprise Elementary, I go by Miss Bree. I'm currently a 5th grade teacher at the school. I am running for at-large position on the Educational Service District Board. This would be my 2nd term. So, yeah, feels like old hat. Glad to be doing it again, though. The ESD serves approximately just over 1,000 children in our region, in our district. We serve Troy, Joseph, Enterprise, and Wallowa. So all school districts in our area receive services through the ESD. Because of our isolated geographic location and our low population density, it's really important that the districts can pool resources and work together to get the services they need to help our children get the best education possible. The ESD provides many services, and if you really want to do your homework, the whole list is printed on this piece of paper on the back table. Enjoy. But most importantly, I think of the ESD kind of like a co-op. They're there to support the districts, to help the districts work together to get students what they need. If all of our school districts had to hire for all the services their students needed, they would have to hire consistently or advertise for full-time positions when really they just need part-time support. So the ESD helps to bring in our specialists, people that can provide these services, but the districts can share them. which I think is just such an important role. And I feel very pleased and proud to be serving on the ESD board, and thank you for your support.
Thank you so much, Bree. Nick Lundy, will you come and talk with us about the Wallowa County Healthcare District? And I want to welcome our Wallowa County Clerk, Sandy Lathrop, who's going to talk a little bit later about voting in Wallowa County.
Thank you, Diane, and thank you to the Rotary and the Chamber and the Stockbrokers Association for sponsoring this. It's too nice a day for a lot of people to show up to. So I'm Nick Lundy. I've lived in Joseph for 35 years with my wife Angie. I retired from a 32-year career in the U.S. Forest Service, half of that time in management leadership roles. I've been a board member of the Wallowa County Healthcare District since 2009, and I've been the board president since 2013. So I'm running for my fifth term on the district. And although my education and work experience were in forestry and fire management, I've acquired extensive knowledge of the complex American healthcare system. I've attended the American Hospital Association Rural Health Conference on numerous occasions. It's a national conference. And met with the Oregon Congressional Delegation in Washington, D.C. about 3 years ago to advocate for our healthcare district. So the skills that I bring to the board are leadership, open-mindedness, and a strategic focus. Wallowa County has a remarkable healthcare ecosystem that's financially strong, flexible, and responsive to community needs. My goals for the district in the coming term, just thinking about this morning, we need to complete the acquisition and installation of the permanent MRI. We've run into some snags with the Oregon Health Authority in approving the MRI that we ordered because it's not like all the others. And so it's kind of the first one in the state. We're working through that, and hopefully it'll go in this summer. We need to build a larger facility for rehab therapy. Ours current one was designed for 2 physical therapists. We now have 11 PTs and 2 OTs and speech therapy, and it's really crowded. So we need to expand that. We're in the beginning stages of offering expanded cardiology services where we could have a cath lab here so people don't have to drive to Spokane. And a big one for the next few years, I think, is anticipating and responding to potential funding challenges in the current political environment. I think a lot of people are concerned about that. One of my goals, and the goal of the board in general, is to foster increased cooperation and integration with all of our community partners. And I think that's been going pretty well, and I think it's going to improve even more. And then support for our talented and dedicated staff in the pursuit of providing premier health care. So I want to thank you for coming, and I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
And I'm assuming no questions for Nick. Okay, thank you. So we're ready to hear from Tim Bombassi via our Zoom link. And Tim is going to be talking about the Joseph School District. Tim, if you can hear me, your mic is muted, it looks like.
Okay, am I unmuted now?
You are. We can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I am Tim Bombassi, and I'm running for the Joseph School Board position number 3. I have a Master of Education degree earned from Eastern Oregon University. and 24 years experience in public school systems in a variety of capacities, but the vast majority as an educator. I also have an equal number of years working in the private sector before becoming a teacher. As a teacher, I've worked with students from ages 5 through 21, all inclusive. I've been an energetic, innovative, and compassionate teacher. I've worked in 2 districts in North Central Washington and locally in Joseph and in Naha. Of the 3 districts I've worked in, I can honestly say that Joseph has been the best experience, and mostly for these 3 reasons. 1, the effort put by staff towards the educational benefit of and relationship with students. 2, the family-like culture created by staff and the support of students and among staff. And 3, the management of the school by administration and support staff. People seem to care more here, and I would hope to see Joseph continue along its path of providing that high-quality experience to everyone who walks its halls. Through earning this post, I'll seek to support the interests of the community and continue Joseph School District's record of success. I have no personal agenda other than to listen openly and use my experience in education and the private sector to facilitate the ambitions of the community. And finally, I do have one personal ambition, and that is to approach this position with an attitude of service to the greater good of the community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim, and I don't believe we have any questions. Nothing submitted.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Lathrop, would you come talk to us?
Gladly.
So you've been county clerk for a few years. I would love to hear a little bit about your history there, and what you've learned and what you can share with us about the importance of voting.
First of all, do I have to talk with that thing?
Yes.
I have
Yes.
You can do it. Pretend it's an ice cream cone. I like it.
Okay. All right.
You've got 4 minutes, Sandy. No, I'm
Jeez. And there's no room to put my crap stuff. Okay, first of all, I am Sandy Lathrop.
Ice cream cone.
I am Sandy Lathrop. This is my Oregon election Bible. This is my vote by mail manual. These are the 2 things that I study, and I basically go, everything is off of these 2. Don't ask me anything about them right now. But I am going to kind of give you a little brief breakdown of what I do, because a lot of people don't have any idea where your ballots come from. I print them. I stuff them. I mail them. I don't go through a bin mailing service. Everything comes directly through me. I'm the one that checks your signature. If your signature doesn't match, I'm the one that calls you or sends you a letter. If you don't get it back to me within 2 weeks of election day, it isn't counted. So signature verification is very important. If you're going to have a broken arm and your signature is going to be different, let me know. Come in and show me what your new signature is going to be. I do send letters out. Believe it or not, I get some people actually come in and cure their ballot challenge, but sometimes they don't. So their ballot is not changed. Let's see here. Postmark laws. You guys probably are aware that Oregon has a new postmark law. It was approved 2 years ago, I guess. And basically that means you can mail your ballot from Tahiti on election day. As long as it's been mailed on election day, it has to be to me within a week. If it doesn't get to me within a week, I can't count it. So that basically pushes back all my election timelines. So we have a week for the new postmark law. Did I eat the microphone? Sorry, guys. And then you have another 2 weeks for the challenge ballot. So you have 14 days to get your signature verified, your new signature if it doesn't match, to get back and remedy the signature. My post-election process, If somebody sends in a ballot, basically, here, let me go back a little bit. So if somebody sends in a ballot and you changed your mind in the middle of your marking your ballot, and you just crossed out what you wanted, or what you thought you might wanted, and then put something else, you can still have that ballot counted. What we do is we do what's called a duplicate ballot. So I take that ballot and I put it on a clear ballot with your exact intent. And then it goes through the machine and is counted. So you don't actually have to bring in your ballot and change it unless you feel like you want to. But it will work if you just cross it out and mark what you really want. And then I'll put it on a new ballot. Our tabulation machine is not connected to the internet. A lot of people have a misconception. They think that, all election results can be tampered with. That's not the case. All of our results are printed out on a hard piece of paper, on a report. I take those reports and I hand enter those reports, the results of every race, into what's called election night reporting, ENR. It's through the state website, and then it's downloaded onto the website, the main website. So at 8 o'clock on election night, you can go up and bring up your election results, and I've already put them in. Unless I'm having trouble and can't get the report to print. That has happened. At the end of election night, or of the election process, let me go back. On election night, I count every ballot that comes in. And that means anything that was dropped off in Joseph, in Enterprise, Wallowa, all those ballots are brought in and they're all counted. We don't leave the courthouse until every ballot has been opened and counted. Some counties don't do that because they're bigger than we are. We don't. We have that. We bring them all in, we count them right then. So the report is printed at the end of the night. I stay with that new report and I plug it into the ENR, the election website, the state election website. So at the end of the night, you pretty much know what the election results are. So anything that comes in from Tahiti or any other place that's been dropped in on election night, or there's a possibility that your challenge ballot will come back in. So all of those changes will go into the system, and then I change before certification. Certification means after I've waited the 14 days for the challenge ballot period and the 1 week for the postmark law, then I take all the results and I have to certify them to the state. So the state double checks my information. I also have what's called a risk auditing audit. So the state does a little lottery type thing. They'll pick one race out of one precinct, and I have to hand count that race, and my hand count has to come out exactly with what my tabulation machine comes out with. If it doesn't, then I got to do it again. And if it doesn't come out again, I have to explain why it has never come out wrong. So there has been other times in other counties where there's been issues. But like I said, our tabulation machine is pretty much state of the art, even though it's older as tabulation machines go. I mean, it works pretty dang good. You guys need to come and watch it work. It is pretty handy. I only have one tabulation machine because we're small, but if anything happens to my one machine, Umatilla County has 4 of them. And so I have a contract with them saying that if I ever have trouble with my one, they're gonna load me up one and send it over to me. And it'll already be programmed, and then all I have to do is have Writer Election come and put our elections into that system. So it'll process our ballots just the same. So basically, am I missing anything? Candy, ice cream, here we go. So
wait until until 8 o'clock on election night before you open any ballots?
No.
Will you restate the question?
He's asking, do we wait until election night at 8 o'clock to start opening ballots? And no, that is not the case. Oregon law with the vote by mail manual says we can open them a week prior. So, but we can't count them. You can't run anything through the tabulation machine, but you can't open them. In our opening board, God dang, I feel like I'm screaming into this thing. I don't know, every time I look at you guys and you look like you're like shocked. I'm sorry. Okay, so our opening board, it used to be a bunch of volunteers that we used to have within the community that would use it kind of as an outing for them to come, open ballots, work for election night. I mean, you probably have known many people that actually worked for me. And then when we had COVID, the laws changed. So I had to have background searches, and then we had to be quite honest, the volunteers that we had were older people, and they did with COVID, it was so scary that they did not want to come and be on the election board. And I get that. I mean, COVID was a scary time for everyone. So what the state decided is we can use our county employees because they've been through the background checks. Everything has been done prior to that. And so it has worked really well. I will be honest, I'm still using my election workers are county employees, and background checks have already been done. And how it is set up, on each side of the room there's 2 tables that go lengthwise, or like 2 of those long tables will be lengthwise down the room. And there's 3 people sitting on each table, length of the table. There's going to be a Democrat, a Republican, and a non-affiliated. There's never going to be 2 Republicans sitting side by side or 2 Democrats. By vote by mail manual says you have to have them separated. You can't have 2 same party people in the same, because things can happen. So what they do is the first person, our chairperson, which sits at the front of the room, they take out a bunch of 25 ballots and they'll set them in front of the first person on the side row, the row of 3, and that person opens up the signature envelope. Then they pass the security envelope to the second person. That second person opens up the security envelope, passes the actual ballot to the third person. So nobody's going to know who voted for what because it's gone through 3 hands. So that third person is looking at the ballot. They're checking to make sure that the voter's intent is easily seen. If there's trouble, then we do the duplicate ballot that we talked about earlier. And we have, for a duplicate ballot, 2 people have to be a Democrat and a Republican, or any other 2 party members have to do the duplicate ballot. 1 person can't do it. It has to be consensus with 2 sets of eyes to make sure that that voter's intent is seen. So then, at the end of that 25, because no more than 25 ballots are at that table at one time. At the end of that 25, they take all those ballots, put them in these totes. The actual ballots go in these totes, and these totes are the ones that get stockpiled until the tabulation machine can run. And then another group of 25 ballots come out. Same thing, same process. You open up the signature, the security, check the voter's intent, and then the chairperson comes and collects everything, puts it in the tote. And then on election day, we usually start like at 10 o'clock, and then I don't know if you guys know Ashley, she's the county assessor. She is also my tabulation machine person. She's dang good. She's got computer stuff. Anyway, so she comes and gets the ballots, and then she takes them over. And we run them through the machine precinct by precinct, so 1 tote at a time. And so she'll get the results from that tote, and the chairperson will tell her how many ballots were sent to her in that tote. And her totals that ran through the machine have to balance the amount that came through the chairperson. So if the chairperson says, you had 475 ballots that I sent through to you, she goes, yep, I counted 475 ballots. So there's so many different checks and balances throughout the process that it's really nice, but it's not easy to make a mistake because there's so many things that have to be done just right. What else can I tell you? There are all kinds of different elections. Of course, you guys probably are aware that during a primary, an open primary, that is when you need to make sure that your party affiliation, you have your right party affiliation inside with me. Because I get a lot of people come in and say, I've been a Democrat my whole entire life. How come I got a Republican ballot? And then I bring them up in the system and I say, is this your signature? Is this your writing? Yes. Well, it says here you're a Republican. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand, forget, I should say. The questions, a lot of times, let's see, my frequently asked questions, what if you received 2 ballots? For instance, if you moved, like if you moved from Joseph to Wallowa or vice versa or wherever, and you get 2 ballots, one that's from the Joseph that was somebody picked up for you in your mailbox and you ended up with it. Whenever the second ballot is printed, it wipes out the first ballot in the system. So you won't be able to vote 2 ballots. A lot of people say, well, I can vote 2. That's not the way it is. As soon as I print that second ballot, it totally wipes out that other ballot in the system. And then another one, can I sign my husband's ballot? I know how he wants to vote. He's not here, but can I sign his ballot? No. You can't sign your daughter's ballot that's in college. We've actually had people do that. So no, there is a federal law against that. It says right on the back of the envelope where you sign your name. And I think it's like a $25,000 fine if you're ever caught. I mean, it's a big enough amount that I would think twice about signing somebody's ballot. Another question that I get. What happens if I don't sign my ballot? Well, I'm going to call you. And you're going to get either a phone call, an email, or a phone, or a mail. A letter in the mail saying you didn't sign your ballot. I can't count it if it's not signed. Because somebody can take a ballot, put it in the envelope, and send it to me. And that person could be somewhere else. Yeah. So we have to make sure that that person that ballot is going to is the right person. Okay, what if you forget your security envelope? That happens a lot too. Don't worry about it. When I do that process that I was discussing earlier, because we get audited from the state, there has to be 25 signature envelopes, 25 security envelopes, 25 ballots in each run that goes through. If somebody misses a security envelope, we pull out an envelope out of the clean batches of envelopes and put it there. Because when the state comes and does my check, they're going to say, well, how come you didn't have a security envelope here? That is the process. You pull out a new one, put it there. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I know you're shaking your head, but that's the way it is. That's in vote by mail manual. In the future, there's a very high possibility that they're going to eliminate the security envelopes altogether. I think Union County may have already done that. Am I correct, Russ?
Not sure.
You don't know? Okay, but I think some counties are going to that because there's so much cost involved in the envelopes. And so there's a very high possibility that security envelopes are going to get tossed by the wayside. And if that's the case, there's still going to be, that process is still going to be there, which makes no sense. There's a lot of things I do that kind of don't make sense, but that's okay. I already discussed it with you. What if I messed up on my ballot? Will it still be counted? Well, that's that duplicate ballot process that I discussed. Okay, what if, I've actually had this. My parakeet ate my ballot. Can I get a new one? And the answer is yes. If your parakeet did eat your ballot, yes, you can get a new one. Please come and ask for one. Don't try to use the parakeet chewed ballot. Deceased people. The system it's through the state. There should be some kind of a checks and balance when somebody passes away, but there's really not. That's a system error that they're working on within the state. So basically, when somebody passes away out there, the only way to get them out of the system is for somebody to come and tell me. Or I find it that used to be the chieftain or something. If I have something that specifies or tells me that so-and-so passed away, then I can take him out of the system. If I don't have that, I can't. I mean, by law, I can't. So yes, some people, dead people get ballots. That doesn't mean they can vote. Here's a big one. When I mail out the ballots, they all leave here at the exact same time, other than right now, I've already got the ones overseas. The Yokava ballots are already gone. There's ones overseas and out of state, or out of country, those are gone. But for local ballots, I mail them all at the same time. And it never fails that somebody within a party or a family, their husband gets the ballot or the wife gets a ballot, but the husband doesn't get theirs. And then I get all these phone calls. Well, my husband received his ballot, but I didn't get mine. Well, give it a few days because chances are the mail's a little slow on yours and it'll show up. It kind of all depends on because everything goes to Portland and everything gets routed back. So maybe your ballot got routed in a different, I don't know, maybe it went to Tahiti too. And I actually had this one. If I live in Joseph, can I drop my ballot off in Wallowa? Yes, you can. Just because you live in Joseph doesn't mean you have to drop your ballot off in Joseph drop box. You can use any of the drop boxes if you wish. So that's not that big of a deal. So, and let's see, you probably heard about President Trump's executive order that he signed an executive order basically saying that he wants every person to be able to show their identity before they get a chance to vote. There is litigation going on right now about that. I can't say a whole lot more other than our governor is kind of fighting that right now because Oregon has a vote by mail system specifically for the reason for remote areas that people can actually vote. And if they have to show their signature, or excuse me, their identity, they have to come in to be able to do that. So it's going to take a lot of, the remote areas or the older people that can't get in. It's going to take away their freedom to be able to vote. So, part of that is good and part of that is not, but it's still in litigation and we'll see how it shakes out. I don't know. I think that's about it. Any questions?
And you can register anybody that's not registered today.
Oh yeah, I've got voters registration cards right over there. And so if anybody needs to, please register.
Thank you so much for your time, our county clerk's on a Sunday. All right, well, again, I want to thank everyone for coming, thank our sponsors, and our folks who spoke are still here in the room, so if you want to talk to them individually after we wrap up, please do. If you have time to help us gather up chairs, that would be appreciated. If you don't, we understand. Again, thank you for coming, and please vote